Hi, and welcome to Academic Compliance Academy. So in this video, I'm just going to shortly introduce to you the GRC framework. So it is an economic funded management gathering of theories that are all related to compliance, dynamic compliance that is. So what is the GRC framework in general? So GRC stands for governance, risk management, and compliance. So all three elements of a modern way to manage a company or an entity. We need the governance structure, we need to assess the risk, and we need to understand compliance. So why is this important, and how should we see that management tool as important in terms of compliance? Well, remember that when we define compliance, dynamic compliance, it all comes down to the behavior of an entity, company, member state, doesn't really matter, but the behavior. And who decides how a company or a member state should behave? Well, that is management. So that is why we're looking into the GRC framework. It's because the elements of governance, risk management, and compliance are all important when we're talking about the dynamic risk-based compliance method. What we need to understand is, even though the GRC framework is fairly new and something that most companies and boards and everyone will have looked into already, when we're talking about dynamic compliance, it's kind of a merge of all the elements that the GRC framework put together. And it has an element that is put on top. That is also why I need to add on something, which is when I go into the governance segment in the next video, it will be with a focus on corporate governance, because that is kind of the way we look at modern governance in terms of economic theories. But I will also, in a later video, address the corporate social responsibility, because it does affect how we should conceive and how we should understand compliance, dynamic compliance that is. Because what can be a bit, well, it's not disturbing, but it's kind of complicated, because when we look at the GRC framework, you can see that the last C is compliance, but it is reactive compliance. It is old school compliance where you only look, it's regulatory based compliance. So why is this relevant in terms of dynamic compliance? Well, it's relevant because we need to know where dynamic compliance comes from. And it is a merger of these different angles. It is governance, it is risk management, and it is also old school compliance, together with some kind of influential public interference. Hence, look at where I'm going, CSR. So all these different angles kind of merged together is the baseline and fundamental, like, core of dynamic compliance. So in the next couple of videos, now I'm just like, this is just why I've chosen the GRC framework, because it's relevant on all different levels. In the next couple of videos, I will go in and look at similarities and differences between the GRC framework plus CSR and dynamic compliance. Remember, when I talk about governance, I will address it from a corporate governance view. So yes, stay tuned and let's go in and look at the GRC framework one piece by one and compare them to compliance to get a comprehension of what are the similarities and where are the differences, because there are differences. So stay tuned, remember to follow the channel, and just let's talk more about compliance.